This question pushed comfort zones. Let me just tell you that. And it was about genetic testing. So the question came in, and I'm more or less going to summarize this quickly because it is more in depth when we go to the answer sheet. When coding a panel, is it more appropriate to use a multiple CPT codes that the genes are directly mapped to, or code such as 81407, which states multiple genes in one platform, and then the codes are not mapped to 81407? Or would it be appropriate instead to just code 81479 to include all the genes, since insurance does not always authorize or pay in for the CPT panel anyway? So again, the question was more in depth. I'm not going to read it all again. They did give us the link as to what they use, and that's there so that when you get the transcript and everything, you want to go look at it. Ultimately, we have to answer a few questions, okay? So the facts are, if you're going to do coding for genetic testing, it's intimidating. It just is, because it's a lot of letters and numbers, and even though you may think you understand what they're testing for, they're not, and so it doesn't make sense to us as coders. We don't speak the verbiage unless you do this all the time. It's an extremely niche area of medicine, and for the most part, it hasn't been paid by payers, insurance companies, until relatively recently, and so therefore it was not on anybody's real high wish list to be able to get involved with this. But it is more so now. So what I did was I went straight to the guidelines that are in the CPT manual. Now, if you're watching this and you're not in 2019, this comes from the 2019 CPT manual. We literally are on the same page every year. So I made a note that it was on page 551. You can go there, look at your manual later, and you can see all of the guidelines, the specific information that is going to be about molecular pathology codes and path and lab codes. Now, when we talk about molecular pathology procedures, and if they are not specified in 81161 and then the code range of 8200 through 81384, okay, then they're going to be reported using either the appropriate tier 2 code, which it gives you a code range 81400 through 81408, or they're going to use that unlisted code that this person mentioned, the 81479. And to be able to make that determination is we need to understand what the difference is between tier 1 and tier 2. Now, this is also in your manual, but I do want you to know that when I was doing the research from this, I came across a great website. It's footnoted, and we are CCO, but they're CCC, which was really cool. And that's all they do, is do information guidance on stuff like this. So
is this the footnote here, number 2?
No, that's a different one.
This one? Number 1?
Nope, that's not it. Is there another footnote on there? CCO, CCC. I think I might have made it really big to give them. I think I did it at the very, very end to give them proper
this one?
attribution. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. This is a great website, and I got quite a bit of information from there, and so we may want to jump out there and kind of give it a look-see. But she did exactly what I did, is we went to the manual and then we listed it. So let's see what our person is really asking in the question. Tier 1 is molecular pathology codes that represent gene-specific and genomic procedures. That's all tier 1 does. Now, if you don't know what gene-specific and genomic procedures are, then you need to go out and study that, yourself and everything if you want to understand this. However, tier 2, and I think this is where a lot of the categories fall into, it is the same thing, molecular pathology codes, but it's a little bit different in that it's procedures performed in lower volumes than tier 1 codes. That means they don't do them as often, okay, as tier 1 codes. So tier 1 codes are very, very common. And the incidence of the disease being tested is rare. So again, we're not looking for this very often. And third, they're arranged by level of technical resource and interpretive work. Okay, so tier 2 codes are more of a niche than tier 1. All right, but I think tier 2 codes get used quite a bit. So let's scroll down just a little bit and let's look at more information. Now we understand what they meant about the tier 1 and the tier 2. Note though that tier 2 pathology codes are used when, and this is what makes them more, makes them used more. First, testing being performed includes the specific analyte listed under code descriptor, and it's being performed at the level of complexity the code is described. Okay, you got to be aware of that. So last year, 2018, there was some major changes in the genetic codes for CPT. For the most part, there hadn't been a lot of changes in the past, but I kind of get the idea that CPT picks and they pick areas and then they like bombard you with new codes in one area. Well, 2018 was genetic codes. That was their year. And the codes that changed, some of them were for 81401, 81405, and 81406, which, as you know, we mentioned 81406. So at the time that possibly this question came in, 2018, the new codes would have been implemented, and that may be what some of the confusion could have been about, when they're trying to decide. But I went and looked at the 2 new genes that were in tier 2, and it did not correlate with what they were questioning, because they actually gave us the what they were looking for, the genetic area that they were looking for. Now, they also mentioned MUEs. If you don't know what an MUE is, then that can be problematic for you. This is why they're having problems ultimately. It is well, it's an MUE is a line of edit or date of service edit. Yes. Okay. So in other words, they're having trouble getting things paid is what they're talking about. So this particular gene that they're looking for is LRP5. And ultimately, it's low density lipoprotein receptor related, protein 5, whatever. Ultimately, they're looking for osteoporosis. So genetically, they can test you and see if you are going to get osteoporosis because of your genetics, or you know what I mean? They do that for breast cancer now as well, but that's the one that this person talked about it. It's LRP5, and it's in the 06 code that we talked about earlier, but it wasn't in the 07. So then it's like, okay, what do we do? This is how we normally code it, and then we use that catch-all code, but we have been running into issues. It was stated, and I'll read this go back just a little bit before you get to all those genes. Yeah, the 29. Okay, see, it says this indication-specific panel is designed to detect both sequence-based mutations and small-scale deletions or duplications of 29 genes associated with various subtypes or osteogenesis imperfecta. So that little area right there, LRP5. We know we're looking for something that is in the genetic codes for this person is imperfecta. It's not, something's off. Okay, but if you understand how they test in the lingo, you'll understand what sequence-based mutations are and small-scale deletions are and duplications. Okay, we may not understand that as much because we don't work in genetics, and if we did, then some of this will make more sense. So this panel that she said that they used, you notice the LRP5 is in there. And you can go out to like find a code and it lists like, and if you go and you look at this in your manual, it's like 2 pages, 2.5 pages of just a list of every single one of these, I guess you could call them acronyms, but they're really not acronyms. They stand for something genetically that they're testing. So the codes, it also referenced to 81228, which is a cytogenic, anemic, I can't even see that, constitutional, it's looking for the genomes and stuff. That really wasn't as applicable when I was doing the research. So let's go ahead and kind of wrap it up in that last page. Okay, ultimately, these are set up in level tests, and this is a level 7 test. The level 7 test for molecular pathology, what I've underlined, they do not have, if you don't have a more specific code, then you would code with 81406. And that's, but they used 81407. So I think what they need to use is 81406. And that code is in there. And then I did find this in find a code under 81406 for April 2017, pathological and laboratory molecular pathology. And you notice she did say how many exons were involved for gene sequencing between 11 and 25 exons. And I think she was dealing with 23. It is appropriate to report the 81406 when the gene is not specifically mentioned in the code descriptor, but matches the procedure's definition. Can we do that? And then there's the answer. It says, no, you can't do that. So the code that they were using in 07, it wasn't listed, but it was listed in 06, 81406. So this is not exactly addressing what the person had asked, but it's telling you, no, you got to make sure that the description is on point. And then what I would do is add to your knowledge bank or wherever you bookmark and everything, this CCC, which is a consulting group, this one lady does, and man, she's a smart one. She's got her bio in there and references a lot of information that's extremely high level, and it would behoove you to connect with her and her site. It's an informational site for research. That's about it, guys.
All right.
Do you need more medical certification and business training? Learn more at www.cco.us.